Good morning, everybody. How you ladies doing today? Thanks for joining me. We're going to make a really fun card using the Detailed Santa Thinlit. So I'll go over that in a minute, but I'm just going to show you, let's see if I can show it to you, the little bit of something in the background. Hey, Ginger. So it'll be the Detailed Santa Thinlit. I'll explain that a little bit more when we get into it. I do want to go into just a little bit of information because there's been a couple of things that have come out recently. So I just want to make sure that I share that with you guys. So if this is your first time, thank you for joining me. I'm Rachel from Rachthestamper.com, and today we're going to make we're going to do two different things. So we're going to make a shaker card with the Detailed Santa Thinlit. But I'm also going to show you, in case you don't have everything maybe to make it yet, a different way that you could make it. So kind of another alternative. Good morning, Tammy. Thanks for joining. Hi, Janie and Jessica. Nice to see you guys. Oh my gosh, I know the Stamparatus. I think I'm going to call it the Stamparatus because I had said that once before because, you know, I have a 4-year-old and we're not like super into dinosaurs, but enough that every time I see it, I don't want to say Stamparatus, I want to say Stampasaurus. So I think that's pretty funny anyway. But hi, Doreen. Oh, thank you very much. That's really nice. I'm glad to hear that you love it. Thank you for watching and joining. Okay, so before we get started, I'm just going to go over a couple things with you guys. Again, I do have another Carols of Christmas stamp set, so I'll be giving another one of these away. I apologize, I cannot remember the name of the lady that won, but someone won this. It is tagged in the list, the video that I did. I just drew it on Monday morning while I was at work. That was interesting, I'm sure. But I have another one of these that I'm going to give away, so all you have to do to be entered is to leave a comment, and I'll send it right out to you. But if you send me your email, and again, go back to that video, and I will try to tag her again in this. You do have a free stamp set, so if you send me your full mailing address, I will send it to you. And I apologize, I can't recall her name right off the top of my head. It's been a really long week, and it's only Wednesday. But anyway, so the Stamparatus was announced the other day, which is super, super incredible because I will be one to tell you, and this is 100% honestly, I never thought Stampin' Up! Would come out with something like this at all. And I most recently just bought a Misty. Eek! I know, I feel so terrible because I thought, well, they're probably never going to come out with one. And I am not kidding you, 4 days later after I got it, they announced it. Is that not like fate or irony or whatever it is you want to call it? Hi, ladies. Thanks for joining. But I will say, from what I've seen, I did not go to convention, but from what I've seen on the website, I'm going to be ordering this anyway because it is so neat. So if you haven't seen it in action, just a little bit of a quick description because I can't show it to you because I don't have it. So first of all, you do have to go in an ordering window to be able to get it. They're going to have 3 different windows. The first one starts tomorrow, and it starts at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. No, I'm sorry, 2 p.m. Mountain Time. So that's 5 o'clock p.m. on the East Coast. I could return it, Donna, but you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to use it to show people probably why this one is going to be so much more amazing. So I'm not really worried about that part right now. I'm going to show you why this is going to be better when I get it. But the coolest thing about this is, so it has a completely open side, so you could stamp really whatever. You could make your designer series paper, make your own designer series paper until your heart explodes because the whole sheet, you can fit a whole sheet, so you could flip it around and do it. And the other cool part is that these little hinged platforms actually come off. So you could put your butterfly here. So if you could see where the butterfly is on this, you could put your butterfly here. You pick this up, move it down a notch. You could have butterflies all the way down your page. You can have other stamps on the other side waiting, and then you just flip it over and stamp them. The same with the top. It is so neat. So I am not one on 2-step stamping, and I'll tell you why. Because I never, ever, ever can get my images to look good, and I get so frustrated, and I see all these beautiful sets, and I'm like, I'm going to try it now because I love that. And they always turn out awful. This is going to change that, I have a feeling, because first of all, with the photopolymer, it is easier to see them. But what you do when you use this, if you haven't used this type of a device before, essentially what you do is you lay the stamp onto the cardstock right where you want it, and then you put the platform, it picks it up. So it's always going to be right where you want it, because all you do is put your little magnets in place. And number 2 thing, I have so many ideas that I have been watching. As you guys know, I watch a lot of different people on YouTube, and I have so many ideas that I've wanted to share with you, but there's no way for me to explain them because I'm like, what am I going to do? Put it on there with a Misty? We don't have anything like that, but now we have the Stamparatus. So I know I sound ridiculously excited, but I really am so excited because there's so many techniques I can show you. Another thing that's really cool about this is, and I have always seen this before with the other device, that if you like mess up your image and you're like, great, and you already had flipped your paper over, all you have to do is re-ink it, put it on again, and it looks perfect. So you don't have to worry about like getting your markers out and refilling it in. You just re-ink it, re-stamp it, boom, done, beautiful. So I really, really, really cannot wait for these to come out. But anyway, so they're going to be available tomorrow, starting pre-order, and they are while supplies last. It is one per customer. So what you have to do, tomorrow I will put the link on my Facebook page. And I also did send out a last minute email that should be going out again tomorrow because there's something else to share with you as well. But basically, what you have to do is you fill out this thing and you reserve your Stamparatus. So it's you need a credit card just because you have to hold it. You have to do this yourself in the online store. This cannot be ordered through a demonstrator. So you have to go into the online store. So you go to rachthestamper.stampinup.com. I'm sorry, .net, and it will basically kind of let you register for it, and then once it comes in, it will charge you. So I don't know how many they will have. I know that what they're doing, it is in 3 separate launches. So it's going to be one in November, I believe one in December, and one in January. And then they will basically, so what they're doing is they're going to pre-order them all, and then when they all come in, it'll go into your cart, which the perfect part is it'll be right during celebration, and this does cost $49. So if you can add something else in there for $1, you'll get a free celebration item. So that's really awesome because these won't be in the store until February. It would just be whatever your standard order is, Gail. So whatever your order is for a $50 order, I think it's probably like $6.95. So that would be your standard. It's going to go into your cart just like you were buying anything regularly online. So basically, you fill this out. You do need a credit card to hold it. And then what will happen is when it goes in, it'll send you an email and say, hey, your Stamparatus is in the cart. So you do have to make sure you go in and finish paying for it or else you won't get one. So you have to go in, pick your something in the clearance rack if you want, or something else that you've been dying to use with it, like a multi-step stamp, put it in. And again, it will be during celebration. So in celebration, everything you get that's $50, you'll get something free. So this kind of works out as a really cool bonus. So if you do need more information, or this seemed confusing because I know it is a lot and it's all at the same time, please feel free to send me an email. You can always reach me at rachthestamper@gmail.com, and I'll do my best to explain it more thoroughly. But again, these will be available to pre-order tomorrow in my online store, and I will put a link onto the Facebook page. And then when they are available, Stampin' Up will send you an email and say, hey, you've got something cool in your cart. Make sure you check out. And it does look like it's going to be so much fun, Vicki. Absolutely. So much fun to use. To me, from what I was able to measure, Diana, you want to know what size it is? It looks like it's a 7x7. So it comes with a foam mat that you can take out. You use the foam mat for the photopolymer. And then if you want, you can take it out when you use your clear mount stamps. And it has paper or measurements underneath, and it seems to be 7x7. So I'm fairly certain it's 7x7. But you do 7x7, you could rotate your page or flip, whatever it is that you want to do, because it is open-ended. And the other good thing is this will be great for righties or for lefties, because then you just turn it the other way. So if you're not right-handed, then you just turn it like this, and you can do left-handed stamping. Because I know one lady in my stamp club tonight, Nancy, is a lefty, and Nancy has to modify a lot of stuff, so this would be really cool. Really cool also if you feel like whenever you put your stuff down, you get a lot of halos, because you won't get halos with this, because all you do is press on the stamp. If you have shakes or tremors or anything like that, or something where you're just, there's a lot of times when I stamp stuff and it doesn't come out correctly. This is awesome, and I really, really can't wait to use it. So, why do you take out the stamp? I'm not sure what you mean, Jeannie. If you could let me know what you mean with the stamp. Because you basically can swap your stamps out. So you could put a stamp on the front, you can put one on the back, one on the front, one on the back, and then you just you can take the plates out, flip them around. So if that's what you mean, that's what I meant. If not, let me know, and I'll try and follow up with the questions at the end here as well. Okay, so another cool thing that's going to be starting, so I wanted to let you guys know about this ahead of time. This starts on November 20th, and they're going to, why do you take out the mat? You could, that's okay, you would use the mat if you had photopolymer. So because photopolymers don't have a cushion, you want to use the mat as the cushion. So basically it's like adding in your Stampin' mat. Okay, so this is kind of like something that's built in there, and then when you don't use your photopolymers, you can take it out, if that makes sense. And the movable hinges, Ginger, do sound amazing. You're absolutely right. Okay, so Online Extravaganza starts November 20th, and they're going to have a 24-hour stamp sale. I just sent out an email about this because I want you to know that some of these, they said, are while supplies last. But there are some really great sets. And then they're going to also have some specials. So there's going to be a 24-hour special on the 20th. And then they're going to have some deals from the 20th to the 26th. And basically there's like paper pumpkin. There's some ribbon. There's some bags. There are some thinlits, some stamp sets, some Christmas stamp sets, some regular stamp sets. All of these are going to be on sale for November 20th. They are 20% off. These will all be available in my online store, rachthestamper.stampinup.net. And again, I will post this graphic onto the Facebook page as soon as I can. And I think they may have something else that'll be coming out towards the end as well. So just keep posted. I don't usually send out excessive emails because I find that sometimes if you send out a lot of emails, personally, when I get like 4 emails from the same person, it's kind of annoying. So I try not to send out too many emails because I don't want to annoy you guys. But if there's something like this, then there you go. Merry Christmas to me. Right, there you go, Ginger. You can shop for everything you want now. Isn't that awesome? I know. And what I know, I've been wanting Stampin' Up to come out with one for a really long time too, Cheryl. That's why I thought, well, this is probably never going to... You know what happened is, it was me. So you're welcome. So I ordered something crazy that I thought they would never come out with, and then 4 days later, there it is. So the next time you think of something that you want, you let me know, and maybe if I buy it, then Stampin' Up will pop one out. Okay, so let me get all these little papers out of the way, and we will move on to the card we're going to make. So I want to show you just a couple things that I'm going to use inside this card. So if you have these, or maybe you're thinking of something to make with your shaker card, this will be something that you could add to it. So again, if you don't have a catalog, all you have to do is send me your full name and mailing address to rachthestamper@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to send you. This is the holiday catalog, this is the annual catalog, and then the occasions catalog will be coming out, but not until probably mid-December. It'll get mailed to you guys, and that's going to be all the spring stuff. Morning, Christina. So what I wanted to show you was the sequins. So I am going to, I think, put some of these sequins in. So they have 2 different ones. They have the iridescent sequins, which are these that kind of look like a little bit pastel. So these would be really good for spring or Easter. And then they also have metallics. So these are like silver, black, copper, iridescent, a whole bunch of different ones in there. So if this is too dark for you, you could always pull out, if you really wanted to, you could pull out just the silver and the iridescent. Or you could do the lighter ones. So I'm not really sure which ones I'm going to use yet. We'll have to see which ones I like. But I think I might add a little bit of dazzling diamonds to this. I'm not 100% sure yet. But if you don't have either of these and you want to make this card sooner, I'm going to show you a really cool trick. So what you can do, because I'm sure everybody gets these. So these are those little packs that they'll put in like your tennis shoes or whatever other crazy thing that you might happen to purchase. And these, usually people throw them in the trash. So I did not come up with this idea again, so I'm not going to pretend like I did. But what you can do is you can take these little things. So you open your packet and you just pour them in here. So you can see they're white. So you could use them as white if you wanted to. Or what you could do, and I'm trying to think, I have a party tonight, so I have like all of my stuff kind of pulled out. So you could take, we'll take Old Olive. You take Old Olive and you just put like 1 little drop of re-inker in there. But you could do this with any color you want. And you just put a lid on it and you just kind of shake them around. That sounds a little annoying. Sorry, it's a little bit loud. You do want to make sure you let these dry though before you use them. And then basically, you can have little like doodads that you could add to your card if you don't have something that you want to match. So you could put these in for your shaker. You could mix these in with the sequins because it would kind of give like a whole nother dimension. But you could dye these cherry cobbler. You could dye them real red. So just a quick alternative if you are still waiting for something to come in or you haven't ordered sequins yet. You could use this in a pinch while you're making your starter pack. Okay, so I just put these, this is like a, I don't even know what kind of a tin, but basically I had these other ones that were from Brad's. You know, when we used to have Brad's a million years ago, I used to love Brad's, so I have all these containers. But what you can do too is you can make all different colors, and then you can kind of mix them together. So this one will be great if you're doing like a under the sea card. Ariel, there's some really, that mermaid card, that would look great with these little things. You could add some more green, and you could do green and red for Christmas. You could even leave some of these white. So you could completely, or clear, I should say. You could leave them clear. That would be really fun as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys a couple different ways to do this card in case you don't have all the stuff to make a shaker card. And I will try to explain this the best I can because, as you know, I kind of did a little bit of a slight practice, but I haven't made this card, so we're making it together for the first time. So what I have here is I did kind of a little bit of a test run. So I did one piece and it looked so awful. I threw it in the trash. It really was bad. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you on this, even though this may not be what I end up taking a finished picture of, because I kind of did it last night so it would dry. So you do need to let this dry. But this is glossy cardstock, and then what you do is you just run your stamp pad across it. I will show you. You run your stamp pad across it and you have to let it dry. So that's the only thing. You could certainly use your heat tool and dry it out a little bit if you'd like, but you want to let it dry. And then you're going to cut your Santa, and you're going to layer this on top, and we'll put the shaker stuff in, okay? But I kind of thought of, just in case someone didn't have maybe everything to make a shaker, of an alternative way you could make it without making it a shaker. So if you're really just dying to make this card today, this would be another thing if you have something with you. So what we're going to do is you are going to need your strips, your foam adhesive strips for your shaker card. I'm going to do cherry cobbler. So I'm going to do 2 of these in just cherry cobbler and show you what it would look like, and we will just kind of figure it out from there. So you are going to need a window sheet for this card. You're definitely going to need your detailed embossing plate for your Big Shot, because this one, as you can see, all these didn't cut, so that's also why I kind of went with it last night. I wanted to see. I got a significant amount of it out, but all these little doodads down at the bottom, they didn't really cut very well. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the Big Shot, and I'm going to cut 2 of these, and I'm going to show you the other one I'm going to cut now, even though we're not going to use it yet. So I'm going to take, I think I'll just do some regular Whisper White. So we will cut this to measure what the front will measure. So we're going to cut it at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then we'll make our base card the same. But we'll decide if we want to use cherry cobbler or whatever we're going to use from there. So I have 2 pieces for now. We're probably going to just use one of these. And then we're also going to need another piece, and I will show you why in a minute. So this is your Big Shot. And if you're going to use your precision base plate, you're going to put your Big Shot platform, your thin die adapter, and then you put your precision base plate. In case you haven't used it, this part is actually a cutting part. So you don't want to cut on this because it's going to just kind of mess up the front of your image and probably make your dies a little bit more blunt. So you want to put the black so it's facing up. And then you'll put your Whisper White cardstock down. And we're going to put the Santa. And I kind of put him in the middle, and I will tell you why. You can do this 2 different ways. I'm not 100% sure which way I liked it better, so I'm going to just cut him just in the middle for now without adding anything else. So I'm going to run him through. Move this out of the way. Hold on one second. You know what? I think I'm going to put him sideways, just because sometimes when you do these straight on and it hits the dies, it can make them a little bit goofy. So let me see. And plus I have this re-inker in the way and everything else. All right, so I'm going to crank him through. Sorry, I'm probably shaking the camera there. You know, this was in the catalog from last year. And I really liked it last year, but I never ended up getting it. Oh my gosh, look how much better that's already popping out, and I haven't even pulled it completely away yet. So I saw him in there this year, and I thought, you know, I better get him because my luck, he'll be gone. Okay. Look how much easier that was. All the stuff came out, like with no effort whatsoever. So, huge bonus there. That's why, again, I just ran that one through last night because I wanted to see. I didn't even have to get out my, I had my little foam roller and everything here, and that just popped right on out. So look how pretty that is. Super, super, super easy. He's completely cut out. So if you wanted to, what you can do is it has these other little kind of like embellishments. So you could put like a little line up here if you'd like, or you could put this little, it's like a running sweater line or something. You could put this down here if you wanted to, but I think I'm going to just leave him as he is for now, okay? So I'm going to leave him like that, but in the meantime, I want to show you the other thing I'm going to cut out. So I'm going to cut it now just so you can see it. So what I did, in case you didn't want to make this a shaker card, what you can do, I just want to pop a couple of these little things out so it cuts, because I'm actually going to run it through with one of the multi-purpose adhesive sheets, the Sizzix adhesive sheets. Because you could just cut this out, and this is very detailed, so if it's not something you want to glue, all you have to do is just put it with the adhesive sheet, and then it'll pop right out. So I thought that would be a quick alternative, especially too, maybe if you were going to make a lot of cards, it would be much easier that way. So what I did is I went ahead with the, let me just show you what this looks like. So this is just the little piece that I have left, but these are the Sizzix, they're adhesive sheets, and what you do is you find whatever piece of cardstock you want to use. So I picked white, and you peel this part off of it. You stick it to your paper, so then it's going to look like this, okay? And then you're going to run your die through. So I kind of trimmed this one so it would fit exactly. So if you have a little bit of trouble with doing this, I was going to say, you might want to, if you hold it up to the light, you can make sure that you cut the whole thing in. I'm sorry, my arm's in the way. I'm just trying to see if I look like I'm back in x-ray school taking x-rays. So this one is a little bit tight, so hopefully it will fit. But basically what I did is I just cut this so it's going to line up exactly. So it's not really going to have much of a frame around it, okay? So that's one thing you have to keep in mind. When you cut this out, let me show you the difference. When you cut this out, it does not completely cut the edge. So if you want it to be so you're just going to lay it right over top of it, you want to make sure that your sheet is going to match size-wise, if that makes sense. So once we run this through, we'll see if I goofed it up or not, and I'll let you know. Let me turn this sideways again. Forgot about that. So when you have these dies that are pretty square, you don't really want to run them through straight, because since they're very delicate, it really can put a lot of pressure on them, and it can warp them. So if you put them through kind of at a little bit of an angle, it will make them cut better, and it'll make you feel like you're not going to bust it up. All right, so what we're going to do, let's see if this popped out. Hopefully I didn't make a liar out of myself. Alrighty, so this has the adhesive sheet. So you see it's like really tiny little line around the edge of it back there. So I just want to pull this off without ripping anything through. Now this one I might have to get the little roller out. Let's see if we can pop it out without. I mean, most of this is coming out really quickly. And the good part about this is it will have all of the adhesive already stuck to it, so we can use it and don't have to worry about putting glue on all those little tiny paste spots. This is another product that I will say I am so happy that Stampin' Up! Started carrying, because you know, you have these little tiny things, and they really are not the easiest sometimes to glue. Look how cool. That turned out pretty cool. And then all I'm going to do is just trim it up on the back, because it does have the adhesive on it. But, you know, these are a pain in the butt if you're trying to put glue on them, if we're being honest. I mean, you can use the fine tip glue pen, but in all honesty, these sticker sheets are so much easier, because look, it's just this little frame. It's a little difficult to see, but there's a little frame around it. So all I'm going to do is just trim this off, and we're going to just stick it right onto our card. So these are really, really helpful for these tiny little things that you thought, why did I buy this? Because now I got to figure out how to glue it. So just these adhesive sheets. Awesome. Okay, let me move some of this stuff out of the way, and then we will move on, hopefully without too much incident, with our card. Get these out of the way. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to just end up doing this one. I'm going to stick this one to this card, just like that. And then what we'll do is we will let the other one dry in the meantime, and we'll stick it to our new card that we're going to make. Let me put these over here so I don't ruin or break anything. Yes, I'm just knocking all these on the floor. I will vacuum them up later because that's how I roll. Okay. So let me, really quickly, what we're going to do is we're going to ink this part up so we can let it dry while we put the other card together, okay? So this is just a piece of glossy cardstock. I'm going to cut it down to 4 by 5 1/4. And these are really fun too. This is something too that if you wanted to, you could do your wax paper technique and then you could have like that marbled background on it instead of doing the ink to paper. That's a completely another way. That was really fun. If you don't know how to do that, all you have to do is go back to my Facebook Live. It's probably about 4 weeks back by now, and that'll show you how to do that. That was really easy. So when you do this with your direct to ink, you want to make sure that if you have the foam pads that you're really light. So this is a linen pad. So this you're going to have to press a little bit more. But if you have like this foam pad and you're doing it, if you press really hard, it's going to get super inky. So if the foam you're using, if you're using the foam, be a little bit lighter. You can always add more. If you're using the linen, you definitely want to press a little more. So basically just have yourself a nice scrap and you're going to just drag this across it. Other thing you could do if you wanted to is you could make really light ones and then you could go across with dark and maybe make a plaid. That would be pretty fun. And again, this is kind of up to what you want it to be. It doesn't have to be super dark, but once it dries, and it does take a teeny bit to dry, but it really is very pretty because it's kind of got like a different background. Other thing you could do is if you wanted to, which I tried this, I didn't really like it. I sprayed like some alcohol drops from the Stampin' Spritzer on it, but it kind of looked, it looked a little scary. I didn't think it looked very Christmassy, so that's why I was like, you know, let me change that around. So we're gonna let this just dry for a minute over here. And in the meantime, what we'll do is we will do our Santa. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim this out with the trimmer. And I'm gonna kind of just trim right to the adhesive line. So I'm doing this from the back so I can see where it is. So you can see the line is like right there on the edge. And since it is pretty much a square, it should work out pretty well. If I now I'm saying the die is definitely a square. If I trimmed it to a square is what would actually be a miracle, because sometimes I kind of just do the eyeballing, which doesn't always necessarily work out to be very even. Okay, so I missed like the tiniest little sliver here, so I'm going to trim this just a little bit more, just so I have the whole adhesive in there. You know what? I don't want to do it with that. I'm afraid it's going to rip it because it's so thin. I'm going to just grab... Oh, where did I put them? I'm going to just grab my scissors real quick and just kind of try my best to trim a straight line. And then... Okay, so since I did it with this, and granted, we can trim this down a little bit, so we'll trim it down and kind of make it like it's its own little box. What we'll do is we'll trim this down, and I think I'm going to back it onto Cherry Cobbler, just because I really like Cherry Cobbler. Cherry Cobbler is one of my absolute favorite Christmas colors. But you could also put it on white. You could cut this. We could put this just like this onto another layer on white, onto a layer of cherry, onto a layer of green. So we'll see where we go with it, because really right now I'm not so convinced with this part while we're waiting for the other one to dry. All right, so I have a piece of green, which I think will be pretty fun as well. So we might put this on white and then on green. You could also, if you wanted to, add a little bit of silver foil. That would be really pretty. Silver foil would be really nice as well. All right, I'm going to trim a piece. So this is 5 1/4 by 4. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to put this on first, and then I'm going to trim it and see how it matches. So very carefully, I'm going to just go ahead and peel this layer off. And generally this paper is pretty thin, the adhesive paper, so it's not really going to stick that it rips anything. But I just try to always be careful anyway. So if you really wanted to get adventurous, you could make yourself a mirror card with the backing if you could hold this steady long enough. Or the other thing you could do is you could take this before you take your, this is a cool idea, before you take your adhesive off to the back, and you could use this as a mask. So you can make like a little Santa Claus on the back. That'll be really cool also. All right, let me see if I can straighten this out. Too much talking. Let me get concentrating here. All right, so that's gonna just lie right on top of there, just like that. Nice and flat. Okay, so now I'm gonna just grab my trimmer and trim this up. And like I said, it might not be as 100% square, so I'm kind of like over trimming just a little bit, just so it meshes. But that's really cute. Oh, it's so fun. You know what else would be really fun on here? Adding, like, if you wanted to add a little bit of Versamark and some dazzling diamonds, that would be really cool. But I like this just because it's shiny. So I know you guys can see how shiny that is. That's super, super fun. So we have our piece of, this is garden green. And how about if we trim up a little piece of... All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3 layers. So I'm going to do garden green. And then I'm going to make this, was that even the right length? That's going to be too short. Hold on. Wrong paper. I'm pulling out scraps here. All right, so 4. And then we'll make this by 5 1/4. All right, so we'll layer that onto here. So you have your base. So it's 4 1/4 by, I'm sorry, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. Score at 4 1/4. And this is 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to trim this up just a smidge more. And I'm going to trim it from the back, just to get rid of that edge. Same with this one. And the other thing is, if you don't have dazzling diamonds, or you're not really into the glitter that could, the glitter pile that could ensue from there, Wink of Stella always saves the day. So we could do that. We'll do that, and then we'll add a little something down here at the bottom with some heat embossing. How about that? All right, so what we're going to do is, I'm going to put this up on dimensionals because I think that'll just be a little more fun. And since I have my strips here, I'm going to just use those, because I haven't used these in a while. I have a lot of these, so that's why I thought it'd be really fun to make a shaker card. All right, so you can just put this on the back. These are really easy. These do tear if you're super lazy and you don't want to get out the scissors, but I have mine right here next to me. So I'm just going to put just these 3 on, so it'd just be like dimensionals. You can put more on if you want to, but since this probably isn't going to go anywhere, like most of the cards I have, they just sit here in my office and I stare at them. We'll just leave that there. Okay, so you can see that's got a nice level up. And then I'm going to put some adhesive here onto the card. And I probably should have heat embossed this before I attached it, but that's okay. So what we'll do is, I'm going to do, I'm trying to think, what kind of a Christmas? We could do like a Merry Christmas. We have so many awesome, awesome Christmas sets. Hey Chelsea, thanks for joining. We have so many awesome Christmas sets that sometimes I'm torn as to which one I want to use. So this one is really pretty as well. I really like the Christmas Pines. Ooh, Merry and Bright would be really cute. Let's see if that would fit in there. Yeah, Merry and Bright. We'll do that one. That'll be really fun. All right, so we'll do Merry and Bright. And we're going to use the embossing tool. So we're going to heat emboss that. And we'll do that in silver. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to take my embossing buddy and just run across the bottom just to cut down on the static. And mount this. Make sure this is not... I just thought I smudged that, and I thought, of all the things, here I am sitting letting that dry, and I ended up smudging it. Alright, so we're going to ink up our Merry and Bright. That right down here. So the other cool thing, just because I thought of this and I could never really explain it to you, when the Stamparatus comes out, so a cool thing that you can do, but is really hard to do unless you have some sort of a positioning tool. So I'm going to explain this, but it's probably still not going to make sense until I can actually show you. But what you can do is, if you wanted to heat emboss something numerous times, which basically makes it have like a really thick 3D look, when you have the Stamparatus, you can do that, because all you have to do is you just re-ink it up again after you heat emboss it. You put another layer of embossing powder on it, and then you reheat emboss it again. It looks so, so neat. Once I'm done heat embossing this, I'll explain it again, just in theory. So I'll have to show you guys that once it's available. All right, yeah. So you don't want to do this. So don't do what Rachel does. You want to do this before you attach it. Now I'm going to use like a little Swiffer. I'll wipe this off. But basically, it kind of makes your cardstock a little bumpy when you heat it. So it's better if you do it before you attach it so you can smooth it out better with some adhesive. But if you ever notice, sometimes when you emboss, I'm trying to make this so you can see that better. Sometimes when you emboss, you'll get that these won't be exactly super smooth. So there's two ways to do that. What you can do if you have a repositioning tool is what you would do is you would just put your cardstock back in just like you did. You'd ink it up again in the Versamark. Now granted, this would be here, so it'll be in the perfect place again. You ink it up in Versamark again. You put embossing powder on it again, and it gives like a 2D. It is so cool. I cannot wait to show you guys that because I have seen so many techniques. So make sure this was dry before I smudged it. So many techniques that really look cool because it makes like the embossing powder almost 3D. It is really neat. You've done that trick, Nikki. It is so amazing, isn't it? I've tried to do it, but again, I didn't have a positioning tool and it turned out really not good. So I can't wait to show that to you guys. That is really neat. But it almost makes like the letters jump out of the page. So when that comes in February, you're going to be like, it's probably going to be like Stampasaurus is what I'm going to call it. Stampasaurus 2.0 February version. But anyway, so here's this little finished card. So you have your glossy. Again, you could add some Wink of Stella to his beard if you wanted to. And the Merry and Bright. And now I'm going to show you what we're going to do for the actual shaker card. So you guys can see that as well. So I am going to leave this embossing powder out just in case I decide to do anything with it. So this is dry, and again, it doesn't really take very long. If you don't like what this looks like, you can always add on another layer of ink. They do look like enameled letters. They're so cool, guys. When you see these, and when you see all the really cool things you'll be able to do with this, it really is incredible. It really is neat. So you have to be really impressed. Well, I tell you what, Diana, when you see this Stamparatus in action, I think you will be impressed because honestly, I had just gotten Misty and I thought, well, and then when I saw the video on what it could do, it's incredible. It really is. You can do patterns. So you could lay like a stamp down and then you move it down. You could do patterns all across with line stamps. It really is so incredible. So I can't wait to use it. But again, I have to wait because I won't be able to get it just like you guys until February. But that's okay, then we can all make them together if everybody gets them. All right, so let me move a couple of these things out of the way and we will get started with our shaker card. So when we do the shaker card, do you guys have like a preference? Do you want to do another one on green? We could do this one on cherry cobbler instead because it is going to be on cherry cobbler. We could do it on thick whisper white, just up to whatever you guys want to do. We do need a window sheet, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that, and then I'll try and keep an eye out for comments and see. This background paper, this is just made with glossy paper, Kathy. It's glossy cardstock, and we just ink direct to paper. Really easy. But I'm going to cut out my window sheet in the meantime, because you do need a window sheet to make a shaker card. And these are available in my online store as well. They're two really huge sheets, so you really do get a good amount with them, especially if you wanted to make a lot of shaker cards. And I have a little scrap piece left. That'll fit, so we'll go ahead and use that. But we could back this. Oh, Night of Navy. Look at you, Vicky, pulling out the big stops. Cherry Cobbler. Night of Navy would be really pretty. Thick Whisper White would look nice as well if that's not one that you guys use a lot. I use Thick Whisper White a lot because when I'll make 3D projects, I really like to use the Thick Whisper White because then you can add Designer Series paper to it and make it your own. So we can absolutely, we'll use Night of Navy. We can certainly do that. That's one of my favorite colors. All right, let me move this one to the side. I just want to trim this piece of window sheet out, so I am going to make sure that it completely covers the back. So even though this one's kind of off just the hair, I'm going to use this because it will cover enough. And it doesn't have to cover the entire sheet. Oops. It doesn't have to cover the entire sheet. It just has to cover the, oh, I forgot I didn't have a piece up there. Just has to cover the openings, basically. So you want to make sure that it covers your openings here. And the other thing you want to do is when you have this, you could also run your embossing buddy over it so whatever it is that you're sticking in the card doesn't really stick to it. Some people don't like that because it kind of gives like a little bit of a glazed look, but it really helps in the motion of your card. And the other thing you want to remember is when you're filling your card, you don't want to overfill it, because a lot of times what I've done in the past is that I've put so much stuff in there that it really has a hard time moving. So try your best not to do that. I'm going to put some fast fuse down, and then I'm also going to add just a teeny bit of liquid glue on a couple of these spots just to kind of keep it in place. So when I'm doing my fast fuse, I'm just trying to be really gentle because I don't want to accidentally rip any of this and embarrass myself on here, even though I think I've done that numerous times before. And you guys keep coming back to watch me, so I must be doing something okay. So I'm going to use my fine tip glue pen, and I'm going to just put a little bit of adhesive just on a couple spots here, just so it sticks and there's no chance of anything breaking free. Alright, that's good. I don't want to kind of overdo it because I don't want it to seep past. Alright, so let's see if I didn't do too terrible of a job. And then the other thing is too, with your embossing buddy, so you want to put the side down. Sometimes too, people will think that it doesn't really look terrifically shiny, but once you get the stuff moving in there, honestly, it's not going to be crystal clear anyway. So don't be too concerned that you're gonna, if I do this the right way, that you're gonna mess it up. So I make sure I lay this, and I might have to go back and do just a tiny bit of trimming. Okay. I think wherever I put this glue down, I accidentally stuck it to the paper. Yeah. Okay. All right. So there you go. Now what you can do is if you have like a little Swiffer or like one of those little anti-static cloths, you can kind of run it on the front if you'd like. Just a little bit. So that's going to be your shaker. So I'm going to just trim this off because I made this just a teeny bit too big. Which again, that happens to me quite often. So I do a lot of little extra trimming. I'm not the most precise person unless it comes to making like boxes and stuff. And then for some reason, I'm really good with that. But when it comes to these things, I think I'm more of a wing it person. Okay, and a dryer sheet. Yes, definitely a dryer sheet would cut down on the static also. Absolutely. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to just take our shaker card. We're going to flip it over and we're going to add our adhesive strip. And again, this kind of depends on where you want the shaker to be. So you could put it all the way up here if you'd like, but then you're going to have stuff that might get stuck far. So I kind of tend to stick it so it's really close to the square right around the image that I'm making. So I'm going to just put this on. Just like that, and make sure that your corners they don't have to be like right up on top of each other, but that they're pretty close, because you don't want any little, lost a piece, any little gaps where your stuff is going to fall out, especially if you're giving it to a little kid, because you know they're going to shake the crap out of it. I know my son, when he walks around with these cards here in the office, he'll say, "Can I pick that up?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I thought, oh, I probably should have used fast fuse on that, because there it goes. All right, so right to the line on there. And I'm going to just trim this piece off. And then what you can do, if you want, is you can add, like you could add a dimensional or two up here if you wanted to, just for kind of stability. Or you could add another strip. Either one will be fine. Again, I'm going to just leave it like this. Just depending on what you think your craft need is going to be, is what you're going to do with it. Okay, so this is going to mount to this. So it is going to measure fairly closely. It's a tiny bit off. You could always measure it over a little bit if you want, but just kind of eyeballing it. So we didn't put our shaker stuff in yet. Before we do that, I just want to decide. So we have all agreed we're going with Night of Navy, I believe, right? So I'm going to get a piece of Night of Navy. I was going to say, I think I might have one cut already, but it has a failed double embossing is what I was trying to do on it. So I want you guys to have to look at the other half of that. All right, so I'm just cutting a sheet, quarter sheet, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Let me just make sure I didn't over measure with this. And this is like a hair bigger. So if you want to have a little bit of Night of Navy showing, you're going to want to trim it down a smidge. So I'm going to trim this down. I do have a little bit of leeway. I'm going to trim it down a little bit just so it will show through, since you guys picked this really pretty one, so we can make it work. Let's see if I can cut it without cutting. Without cutting this up. All right, hand trimming. Here we go. And I'm cutting through window sheet too. So it's going to probably match up on the sidewise. Exactly, but the bottom and top, it'll have a little bit of a level on it. I think that's a little bit crooked. Okay. All right, so this is going to look really pretty. I really, like I said, it's not going to have a huge layer level because of the way the white is on the Santa, but you'll be able to see it on the top and the bottom. So we'll make that work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in... Gosh, I'm so undecided. I don't know if I want to do those because they're lighter. I think I'm going to do these. Even though there are some black ones in here, I think it's going to look prettier than having the light color in there. Go ahead, you can get them. It'll look nicer than having the light color in there. So I'm not going to do the light ones. They're not going to look good. Let me trim this up just a smidge. Just so it fits. Make sure it's not too close. Okay. Alrighty. So what we're going to do is you're going to flip this over. You're going to pour. That's probably good. I know it looks like that's not really much, but the problem is when you put too much in there, there's not enough room for it to shake. So it kind of makes it, they're all kind of just jammed together, and it doesn't look good. The other thing you could do is you could add a little bit of dazzling diamonds in here if you wanted to. I don't think I have any of that that's close enough that I can grab it without making a fool of myself. You could add a little dazzling diamonds. If you wanted to, you could add like a few of these little balls in here. I'll put in a couple just for the heck of it so it's a little more Christmassy color. Again, these don't take terrifically long to dry, but you don't want to put them in right before. So we'll just leave that just like that. Now the thing is, when you do this, you have to do it upside down. So kind of keep your stuff in the middle and just take your time. So you're going to start peeling off your little layers, and these are from the strips. Okay. Same here. That piece has a little piece of adhesive stuck. I'm going to have to find that on the other side when I turn it. Okay, so then you're going to take your glossy side down and just gently set it down on there and just press your seal. So mine is like a tiny bit off on this side because, again, the way I cut it. And I'm going to go back and trim this up underneath a little bit just so it doesn't show. But it's kind of different. So you can see there's like actually the dark colors really do stick out. So that's pretty cool. But you will get these little pieces that sometimes will stick to the window, and that's okay. I don't really think anybody will be that upset if your stuff sticks to the window, and it'll be more festive that way, right? So if you wanted to, you could also, and again, you definitely want to do this ahead of time if you're going to do it. You could have embossed something on the front like Christmas blessings or Merry Christmas or whatever it'll be. But instead, we'll do something on the inside of our card here. Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead and adhere this to the front. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the adhesive on here. Okay, now since this is a little bit of a tight fit, the way I put it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually adhere this with Tombow liquid glue, because that way it'll give me a little bit of time to move it. So if you do fast fuse, once you put it there, it's stuck. Kind of same thing with snail. But when you have the Tombow liquid glue, you have a little bit of time that you can move your stuff around. And this is a tip that I saw from somebody else. You just put a little bit of your liquid glue. Probably don't need that much, but you put it into like the lid of a Tupperware container, and then you use your Stampin' sponge, and then what you can do is you can dip it and you can kind of spread it. This works really well also. This is another real quick tip. If you, for some reason, still don't have those multi-purpose adhesive sheets yet, what you can do is you could use this tip to put the Santa, I should say onto this one, to put the Santa onto here. So if you don't have that, because it'll only get it on there instead of using that fine tip glue, because the fine tip glue it works really well, but sometimes if you find you get it on your fingers or you're making a mess of it, so that would be another one. So you basically would just put your sponge stuff onto the back of this and then stick it down. So we're going to put this on here. And again, with your Tombow, you kind of have a minute before you can kind of fiddle with it. All right, I'm just going to give that a nice, try not to get any fingerprints onto here, but give that a nice press. So then that sits up really fun, just like that. And it does look really, really pretty on the navy. So whoever came up with that, bravo, good job there. It kind of looks like Christmas night. And let's see if I have another piece. So I have a piece for the inside. So for the inside, let's figure here. I believe I wanted to do something, let's see. I really like this set. It's really fun. But A Wish for Everything Merry, that would be really pretty. Season of Cheer, Merriest Christmas Wishes. There's so many really, really pretty ones. Sometimes I just don't know which one to pick. How about, anybody have any suggestions? What do we got here? Late to the party. That's okay. Could you win one of my cards? Oh, Pat, that's so nice. You know what? How about that as a bonus? I'll send you the Carols of Christmas stamp set, and I'll put one of these cards in with it when I send it to you. Since they're all just sitting here, they're waiting to be loved by somebody. That's a really good idea, Pat. So absolutely, whoever wins this will also win one of these two cards. I'll put it in with the stamp set. So again, just make sure if you haven't already, make sure you leave a comment, because I just pull off the comments on here, and I will draw a winner Friday. I will try to do it at 5 o'clock on Friday. So, inside of the card here, how about we will do, I'm going to do one of these little Christmas pines here, because I think that'll be really fun, and A Wish for Everything Merry, because this is a really cute one as well. All right, and we'll do these two pines from the Christmas pines. These Christmas pines, I got to tell you, this is one of my favorite sets. This was in the Occasions catalog that carried into the main catalog from last year. I love this set. I love this set also too if you want to make something in non-traditional Christmas colors. I made a really pretty card using Pool Party and Soft Sky with these, and it kind of makes like that cold Christmas feeling. So really, really pretty. Really great idea. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the branches first, and this again is a two-step stamp, so you can do just one if you want. This is like the darker, and then these are the highlighted branches. So I'm going to do this in, let's see. I'm trying to think. You know what? Since this is a different color, kind of with the Christmas, like the other one, I'm going to do it. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like in the Soft Sky. Just bear with me one second. I just have to grab my ink. I'm going to do it in Soft Sky and Pool Party. All right, that didn't take too long. So we're going to do the lighter color first. So I'm going to do Soft Sky first. And then we'll do the Wish for Everything Merry in Night of Navy. And it'll bring the navy into the card. So this should be a different take on a Christmas card instead of using all the traditional colors. The only thing we have in there is Cherry Cobbler. So we're going to ink up the Soft Sky. And again, you can kind of make this as light as you want, as dark as you want, as many as you'd like. Okay. Now let me move this out of the way. Clean this off because I need to order myself another one of these big blocks because I only have this one. Gets used a lot. All right, so now we're going to go back with Pool Party, and the cool thing about these, since they're photopolymer, is they are a little bit easier to line up than if they were clear two-step stamps. But once you get the Stamparatus, this will make this immensely easier. So if you can see that, it kind of gives like that dual layer. It's really, really pretty. So it really makes it come to life. And again, I think I've said this like 400 times, so I apologize if I keep saying the same thing. But I also saw this other really cool technique where when you stamp these, when we get the Stamparatus and you can make these, I saw a card that truly looked like it was 3D because of the way you were able to re-stamp the layers and everything. Isn't that pretty? It was so neat. Oh my goodness, you guys. I can't wait to share that with you because I really think you're going to love it. All the things that you can do. It's kind of like if you found like you fell into a lull with your stamping where you're just like, yeah, I'm a stamper, but you know, I haven't made a card in a while. This thing is going to make you so happy. You have no idea. All right, forgot one more. So we'll do the Knight of Navy. Do our sentiment Knight of Navy. So the cool thing is, if you had your Stamparatus, all you do is you would just close your thing, it picks it up, and then you just stamp right back down. It's that easy. Super simple. You don't have to worry about getting halos. Even if you get ink on like the surrounding part, it doesn't get on your card. It's so cool. So cool. Plus, you know what? It's priced really well. I will say that. It definitely is priced amazingly. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find. I know the Misty was not the same price. So I definitely would say. Oh, how pretty is that? So cool. And if you wanted to, you could add like a little bit of, again, dazzling diamonds. But how about, since we have it here, a brand new Wink of Stella. So if you've never used this before, you have to take this little black ring off, because then you're going to puncture the hole. So you just screw it back on. Give it a little shake if you want to. And we'll put a little bit of, like a little frost onto these leaves. Make sure I squeeze that. Come on. There we go. Oops. Okay, I'll put a little bit of frost on there. This might be one of my old ones. I don't think I picked up the silver one. I think I picked up one of the gold ones that I still had. Okay, so just a little bit of glimmer. Also with the Carols of Christmas stamp set, what you could do if you wanted to is you could add, this would be so cool, a few little ornaments hanging from here if you wanted to. So that'd be a lot of fun. And somebody will win this. So you have this pine stamp set, you can just add it right to it. Okay, so let me attach this and we will be all done. I'm going to just put this in with a little bit of fast fuse. So again, make sure you leave a comment, and I think I didn't trim this up. I think it's a little bit bigger than it should be. It's full size, but that's okay. So make sure you leave a comment, and you'll be entered to win the Carols of Christmas stamp set, and that's going to be, I'm going to have to trim it down after I put the fast fuse on. Oh, geez. Don't mind me. It's just a regular Stampin' with Rachel. Another episode of Stamping with Rachel. The Crazy Stamper. That's what I'm going to start calling myself from now on. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you like these two cards. I don't want to put this down because I don't want to put it in this glop here. So, you have a shaker card, and then if not, you have one that you could just adhere directly to your glossy cardstock. Both of those are made with glossy. This one I use just the Cherry Cobbler ink. This one I use the Cherry Cobbler like at a much lighter touch. And then I added in, I think this was Garden Green, because I made this one last night. But Garden Green, and then we did a little bit of heat embossing on here. This one we added in the metallic sequin assortment, and we added in just some little doodads that we made that come in your tennis shoes and your purses. You could just add some re-inker to color them to whatever color you would like, which is super fun. And I can't wait. I know it's a long time, and I certainly don't want to rush past Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, but I really can't wait to be able to share the Stamparatus with you when it comes. Again, make sure that if you want it, pre-order goes live tomorrow, so make sure that you get to my website. And what I'll do is I will put a link on Facebook tomorrow morning. I'll pin it to the top if you want to go on there and pre-order one. Again, it is first come, first serve until they run out. They're going to do it in 3 different batches. All of that information is posted on the Facebook page as well. And then once they do those 3 pre-orders, it will eventually be in the catalog next year, the new annual catalog next year. Thank you very much for all of your compliments. I really, really appreciate that, you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I only do this because I know somebody's going to show up and watch. So thank you to everyone who came and joined and shared. Make sure, if you haven't left yet, that you leave a comment so you'll be entered to win Carols of Christmas stamp set. Really fun stamp set, and I'll throw in one of these cards with it. Not sure which one. We'll see which one I think looks less crazy. And I will draw for that again. I will try to draw Friday at 5 o'clock. That way you guys have a little bit of time to enter for this. But as always, you can get all these supplies and more in my online store, rachthestamper.stampinup.net. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com. You can always follow me on my blog, on Pinterest, on YouTube, and Instagram at Rachthestamper. And if you haven't already, I have a newsletter that I send out. Again, I try not to spam people or annoy you with too many emails. I did send out a couple this week because there were a couple new things going on. And I also am in the middle of the holiday helper emails, which are 13 emails that I sent out that are ideas for things that you can make, cards and little projects and whatnot. It's completely free, but I do have to have your permission to be able to send these to you. So if you want to be on my newsletter list or on the holiday list, just send me your email address to rachthestamper@gmail.com. So thank you guys for watching. I will get these on the blog as soon as humanly possible. It probably won't be today, but I'll try to get these on the blog and repost all the measurements and whatnot and all the supplies used. I'll make sure I put everything on there. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have an awesome day. Take care.